Item D, the employment of substitute service personnel. D, the transfer of service personnel. F is the employment of extracurricular personnel. G is the leave of absence. And H is resignations.
Any questions about the personnel actions? If not, call for the question. All in favor? Is that all yes vote?
Yes.
All yes on the personnel actions. Okay. That covers the agenda items. Now we go down to comments. And list 24 pay employee pay scale.
Okay, and that's listed on there because Mrs. Lucas wanted me to share with you the results of the most recent vote that we had for 24 pays. I believe Mrs. Gandy may have shared this information with you previously. I'm not certain. I made a copy just in case.
So this was the summer vote, Jack?
This was the summer vote.
Okay.
Sean, would you like to?
Yes, please. Thank you.
Out of 478 employees that we have in the school system, 234 of our employees voted. 143 of them voted yes, 91 voted no, which represented 61%, 61.4% of all of this.
I was trying to take notes.
So all total, roughly 48.7% of our employees had an opportunity to vote through this summer vote. And, you know, we had a vote, and those numbers were shared with you prior, regarding the, right before the school was out. We asked our employees to vote on whether they would want to move to 24 pay. And just so that you can see those figures at that time, what the vote looked like, I'm going to give you a copy of that vote as well.
Mr. Midkiff, go ahead. All employees receive and have an opportunity, right?
We were concerned that at the end of the school year that maybe we didn't get all of them. When we started looking at the list, we knew, obviously, we missed some folks. So this second attempt was maybe an opportunity to try to catch everyone, to make sure that we got everyone. You know, so that was the reason for doing so. So that what you see is the preview. The first vote was 274 yeses, 75 noes, and then you see the results of the second vote. Just any questions that you may have.
Okay, anybody have any questions about this? I tried to share there earlier, and we were under public review comment. Now, let's start from the beginning here. This was initiated by employees. They came before the board seeking a way to do what they thought would better address an employee concern such as having double insurance in certain months of the year. The board considered that, and we're still considering it, but it was never a board initiative, obviously. In order to do that and to see what the sentiments of my employees were, we had this vote at the end of the school year, and to see what it was, and there may have been some that didn't vote. But to ensure that everybody had a voice, and that was our intention all along. Once the summer came, it was, I think, Bertie then decided, well, why don't we just send a letter and let everybody try to vote again? Some have misconstrued that, maybe, with people being on vacation and this, that, and the other, that, it was trying an attempt to get people not with the ability to vote, but it's really the opposite. We were trying, while it was on public review, to ensure that people had the opportunity to vote. Like I say, it's on review and comment, and what that's meant to be for this policy and all is that people take advantage of that and let us know how they feel. And then we compile those, and Brenda makes it available to us, and then we hear the sentiment. Of course, in addition to that, people may come and speak to us orally like they did tonight, but we want to hear what they have to say. But we're trying during this public review and comment period to see what people think. You know, we don't have any predetermined decisions on how this should be, but we want to see, we want to do things that are going to improve the employees' lives, help them financially, and do different things such as even the dental and optical. So at this point, it's still on review. We're still taking comments. We're trying to clarify a few things because as we get comments in, because they don't always come in that way. Sometimes they come in this way. And I know we've all seen and heard things there. And we hear about what goes on in other counties, and I'm sure we've all seen that one of the things that's been mentioned frequently is that some counties provide options. You can either get 20 page or you get 24 page. So we've heard that, and I think Jeff has even conversed with some of the surrounding counties as to how they do that, and you know, there are additional costs and all kinds of things like that. The one thing that I would like to know, that I tell everybody that I talk to, the main point when it was first presented to us was that this would prevent employees from being having insurance double deducted from their checks in, is it April, May?
Their last 4 checks.
Okay,
The insurance is pulled from their last 4 checks.
Okay, so they were having to pay like a double amount in those months. So when it was first presented to us, it was with the intention if we were to go to a different format, that they wouldn't be penalized and have to pay that, be double or pay double in those months. Now, I've never quite understood. I know the government operates differently. I was telling these fellows here before the board meeting, the logical thing to me would be, and I know there's some reason behind why I can't do this, but I would look at how much I have to pay in a year, and I'd divide that by 10, and I'd take a tenth of that out of every month, and then I'd have paid my money. Now, why can't you do that?
I do not have the staff
Well,
to account and track growth, because the billing comes out on a monthly basis.
explain that. I mean, I'm a layman here. Explain what you mean by that.
Well, let me just say, after Marcia left, and I've had to do a lot on insurance recently, so I thought I would print out the insurance codes, and I had in mind that I might do some changes. I printed out the insurance codes. It's that thick, because everybody has a different scenario. It's age, it's wages, you want this plan, that plan. It is just a humongous amount of details. So the PEIA shoots out their bill, their invoice, and it comes out on a monthly basis. Everybody gets it on a monthly basis. Now, through the year, you know, different things change on that employee. You know, they may add a child, they may get a divorce. You know, there's different things that's going to, so that rate is not set all year long. But what we have is this program that takes what we pull from insurance, because we're dealing with 500 employees, okay, who have insurance. So we have a program that will merge what PEIA bills us, what we pull from WEBIS, and it'll merge all that together and then throw out any errors that we have. And our insurance bill on a monthly basis is near $400,000. It's not a small thing. It's very complex, it takes lots and lots of time, and it needs to be accurate as far as possible. So for me to split that up and do that twice a month, then I don't have anything to merge and kick out errors. So then we're back to the old method of going through 500 employees, looking at their health insurance, their optional life insurance, their dependent life insurance, their RHBT. I mean, it's just so complex that it would just be, I mean, I would have to have more staff. Or else I just pay them what they bill us and forget about making sure the employees are paying the proper amounts, which I don't think is a good practice to have. I think you need to be as accurate as you possibly can be when you're working with the public's money. And so the other thing, you know, that keeps coming up, and I'll just expand on it further. People want the option of 20 and 24, okay? Now, if we do an option, then we're still going to have to double up on the last 4 checks to pull their insurance, because not everybody would be getting a check during the summer to pull that insurance from. Okay?
And when you say everybody, whether they're 20 or 24.
Yeah, if they're 20, their last check is technically June the 30th. Okay? So I couldn't pull from their July the 15th check because they wouldn't get a July the 15th check. They're done on June the 30th. Okay, that's the 20 paid people. Now, the 24 paid people, you know, they're gonna have 2 checks in July, 2 checks in August, so I can go in and pull one insurance out of the July 15th and one out of the August 15th. Okay? And that was the whole purpose of doing this, was to ease the burden of insurance. Now, if we're gonna forget that we're trying to ease the burden of insurance, then we need to not do anything at all, because otherwise, we're just becoming their banking services. Okay? They already have that because they're already putting money into the credit union, and they take it out when they want, as you heard from one of our speakers tonight. It goes into the credit union, they pull it out during the summer whenever they want. So if we're not going to address the 12 monthly payments of PIA, you know, we'll recommend we leave it where it is and not create additional burdens in finance office, just to provide banking services. It's already provided.
Okay, you answered my question a while ago, because you don't know when school starts what my premium is gonna be for the whole year, because of my situation.
No, it's good, you know,
Okay,
it will
so
change.
so now, okay, I understand why you can't do that, because that just seems too
And
easy
it's
to me.
just, you know, everybody just thinks it's just simple, you know, if it's if my payment's $500 a month, just, you know, divide it up, do it, you know.
Well,
Insurance is, listen, y'all don't, no one has a clue.
Well,
How complex.
That's the reason we're asking you, because
Yeah.
we didn't realize that that could fluctuate from
Yes,
month to
it
month.
can.
Because once again, it just seems so obvious, you just take a tenth of it, but.
And then they, you know, they'll change rates, and, I mean, there's just, it's a monster.
But now, we're understanding that if the 20-day pays, such as we have right now,
Mhm.
there's no alternative but to double take in those final 4 checks, right?
Right, and that's why all the counties that we've sampled are doing. Even if they allow their people 24 pays as an option, they are still doubling up on those last 4 checks.
Well, I thought you said there a moment ago, we went to 24 in July and August.
But everybody has to go, and that's why when we started this scenario, everybody had to go to 24.
So if you go to an option in summer 20 and 24.
Yeah, then you've just eliminated the whole, relieving the burden of the insurance, because I'm still gonna have to pull it on those last 4 checks.
So the 24 paid people wouldn't have gained anything.
No, we've just provided banking services for them. If it's not, if everybody don't go.
I think the worksheet you sent us out, Ms. Jonas, really kind of brought a light to it. And I've seen so many comments that we would want to be getting interest off their money, and I looked at that pitiful little
I know, it's just
amount.
like,
It's like, wow, we're going to get rich with that interest.
That's every comment I got.
Yeah, I mean, you know, I
Well,
have.
you saw her
I mean, I
worksheet.
know that.
I looked at our bank
That's what they
statement,
think.
on $2.4 million, we got $152. And in our operating budget, $152 is just like nothing.
Bertie, how do you get your state aid? Does it come July, do they send you several $1 million?
No, they do not.
How's that work?
It's, we get a payment on the 15th, the 20th, and the 25th.
Are they
And it's
give-
spread all through the year, and it's different amounts. We get, we're a little bit higher now, and then in January, February, March, it's lower. So we're always in a financial crunch during those months, and then it kind of goes back up during the
Some
end
people are
of the
under the
year.
misconception that, you know, you get all your money and you're waiting to get it out, but the state likes to earn interest
That's,
in.
yeah, they need it to operate on up there
Right.
too, yeah. And you know, at some point in time, you know, if the interest rate ever got back to, 10-15%, it might be material, but, you know, with those numbers that I gave you guys, by the time they pay federal tax and state tax on that, you know, interest is almost an immaterial issue even for the employees, but, you know, unless they sit down and look at it, they probably do not understand that.
I don't think they really do understand.
No,
that.
I don't
If
think they
would
do.
sit down and look at some of the things you've given us,
Mm-hmm.
and like you said, we were trying to help them.
Yeah, it's,
And
because it's
it's kinda-
additional work on finance office, and, you know, we're just trying to address the needs and wants of, what we thought we wanted to do.
Certainly, the additional cost of going to a 24-pay period would offset the infinitesimal interest gain, if any, over the course of a year, probably by a multiple, what, 10, 20, 30?
When I've talked to Nicholas County, the funny thing was, you had the option. I think there were 4 people in the whole county that did the 10 months. It's
Yeah.
the total opposite.
Well, and I talked to Boone County, and, you know, that most of their people have switched over to 24. I think there's just kind of a fear factor out there right now.
But now, let's
It's
talk,
different.
what happens in Boone?
Yeah, it's the change.
Well, I mean, in Boone now, so they're on a 24, does that mean, is everybody in their whole county on 24?
No.
Well,
Boone
so
County-
that means that they're having to pay double insurance
Well-
last times?
Boone County is a very unique situation out of all the surrounding counties because Logan, Cabell, Putnam, Kanawha give their people an option of 20 checks or 24 checks, but they still pull the insurance on the last 4 checks in June. They're still doing what we do.
Yeah, my wife makes a lot more in the summer. Because-
Putnam makes more than everybody can pay.
But I mean, she
Now-
didn't pay AFT dues, she didn't pay insurance, her paychecks are great.
Yeah, in the summer, yeah. Well, and that's the same for us, all of us that are 24 checks. Our summer checks are great because we don't have any of those other crazy deductions. Plus, we don't have insurance coming out of our check. But we're being penalized the same, you know, we're getting hit 2 times, you know, on those last 4 checks. So we're feeling that pain as everybody else, but then when it comes to summer, then we got these big checks coming in. We're like pretty happy campers.
How can Boone County do this?
Okay.
I mean, what do they know?
All right, so here's what Boone County's doing, which they probably got into this situation years ago, and they just couldn't work their way out of it. So they process payroll 2 times. They process payroll for 20 pay people, and then they turn right around on that same day and process pay for 24 people. Okay? So the 20 pay people, they'll pull insurance on those folks, and the 24 people, they'll only pull once a month. Okay? I didn't explain that good. Let's say they come, let's go at the end of June. At the end of June, the 20 people get insurance withheld on June the 15th and June the 30th. Okay? The 24 people only get it withheld on June the 15th. Okay? Then the 24 people then will get withheld again on July the 15th check and on August the 15th check. Okay? Now, from a accounting standpoint, you have, and we're talking $400,000, all these people, all these account codes. So you have a pocket of money set out here for those 20 pay people. That is for the month, say we're pulling for the month of July. Okay, it's gonna hold there. So then you process and pull the July the 15th, pull the insurance from them. So then you've gotta combine those 2 different sources and then try to reconcile that into that July PEIA invoice. So I can assure you, if that treasurer in Boone County could change that, he would change that. Because, you know, he's double running payrolls. If we would even think about doing something like that to Trina Barrett would retire on us. It is not a good method, and as, you know, you can see from the other counties, nobody is doing it. I don't think anybody in the state is doing it, to my knowledge, would do it like that. It's just not a good method, it's too hard to try, and,
So now you're explaining Campbell County then, if I could be 20 or 24,
Yes.
that was an example. And if I choose 24 in Campbell County, I'd still have to pay my insurance those last 4
Yes.
checks of the current given year.
same thing in Kanawha County, and same thing in Logan, and same thing in Putnam.
Everywhere.
Yeah.
No, I was just going to clarify, but there you could go.
So can I just clarify the same thing? If you continued the 20 pay people, they would get the double premium hit in April and May still. But that would also apply to a hypothetical 24
Yes.
pay period people. They'd be hit double April and May. That wouldn't change in the summer.
No, the only way we could change that is if everybody goes to 24.
Oh, gotcha. Okay.
Yeah.
So there can't be an option, right?
Gotcha.
Right, it can't be
Okay.
an option to resolve the PEIA insurance.
Understood.
Because the only reason we looked to do this was to get away from the
Yes.
double hit in
Yes.
May, June for insurance purposes.
That was the only reason we went down this trail.
That was the reason they came to it.
Yes.
Right.
But now, if we go, say we're just gonna drop it, we've got all these people who want to do it, that's gonna come back at us and say, you know, we outnumber the others.
So is the solution, I mean, I know that, is there a plan to have another vote?
Yes, we plan to poll our employees August the 18th, 19th, when they come back.
before that, can we get them a modified version of what Bertie sent us, a single, easy-to-read document that
Was that
lays
easy
out
for you
the-
guys to read?
It was
Yep.
very
Yeah,
easy.
very
I
understandable.
loved it.
Okay.
That lays this out. I mean, but didn't we have separate documents, one with the interest calculations and one with something else on it?
Yeah.
Something simple that hits the high point and says, look, this is the advantage to you of a 24-pay period. This is the disadvantage, the perceived disadvantage, if any.
You know,
Make
and I
your
think-
choice. I mean,
Yeah, I mean, you're getting a smaller check, but gosh, did y'all see how much their checks were gonna be in the summer? I mean, that,
Yeah.
like, I would, if I had the choice, I would certainly go, because, you know, I'm gonna give up a little bit right now. But the fact is, most of those people are already putting money into the credit union.
and Bertie, well, didn't you tell us that the people would be able to pick up all their checks for the summer on
Yeah,
a
that's-
24-pay period at the end of when?
Yeah, June the
End-
30th, June the 30th.
So June 30th, the
Yeah.
people that went on a 24-pay
Yeah.
period would pick up every check for the summer.
Yeah, we could-
They're all available.
Yeah.
No matter what you do, if you do something with someone's pay, my
Yeah.
phone's gonna ring, which is gonna be,
I mean,
if you don't have an option,
So
tell them what to
theoretically,
do.
aside from getting smaller checks, September through May.
Really, yeah, because you're gonna get extra, it's gonna be offset in May and June, because we're not doubling up on that insurance. So you got September, October, November, December, January, February, March, and April. You've got 9 months, it would be less, but then you're gonna get a, big paycheck, 4 extra paychecks during the summer. Then the other thing is, it doesn't matter when we start school, there's no, right now, the folks are gonna have to wait till September the 15th to get a paycheck. Last year, they got a paycheck on August the 30th. So there's a bigger gap this summer for them to get a paycheck.
But as a part of this, whatever is provided to are the principals going to present this to their staff
Yes,
or
we're
the
going to present,
supervisors?
we'll present to the principals of the Leadership Academy to give them
Okay.
direction, what they need to do when the employees return.
But I mean, are we going to stress here that unless every one of you want to do this, that we're still going to be forced to take the 4 checks out at the end of the year, even if you go to 24 or 20? I mean, I think that needs to be on this sheet, the sheet that you were.
Well, I think Bertie said there's no option. We can't give an option of 24 and 20 and take out the insurance premiums the same. It's too complicated. Either we go to a 24 where insurance is pulled May, June, July, August, or we stay with the 10-pay period where it's pulled twice in May, twice in June.
Right, well, I'm just saying, when I'm sitting there before my faculty, I want to be able to make it clear to them in layman's terms
Right.
that this is the way it is. Hey, unless everybody in the whole county goes to the 24, if only half of you do, or whatever percentage it is, that you're still going to, those that go to 24, you're still going to get hit for those 4 extra paydays. To me, once again, that's the critical point that they need to know in general.
They probably didn't know that
Yeah.
when they first voted.
Right.
But it needs to be made clear that there isn't an option. We either go to 24 or we stay with 20, and this is why.
Yeah.
We'll make it clear.
And
Yeah.
because I think somehow I think they've lost sight that the reason that we've even considered doing this is to relieve that burden of insurance. I think they've just lost sight of that.
Well, they weren't here when the proposal was first made to us, and that was what was, emphasized to us. That's the whole purpose of
Yeah.
this. And,
None of my phone calls mentioned insurance.
and that was the primary reason that
Yeah,
this was
the
brought
only
forward.
reason.
Have you understood, Brenda, what we're saying here, what they're saying, is trying to eliminate that having to pay
Sure.
the double interest, those.
I've only had a 24 period pay, so I don't know anything about 20.
That's what they're being forced to do. At the end, they're having to, instead of paying $100 a month in insurance, they're having to pay 2 for those first. And it is an extra burden. So they were coming before with a proposal to try to prevent that from happening.
I'll do an email I'll probably have 50, 100 emails, I'll do an email. So.
But, we just want them to, once again, we want to do what's best for everybody. We want them to know the facts as they are, though. But, so you're saying on the 18th or 19th, we'll have a vote, right?
Yes.
Okay. And the period is the 15th when comment period's over. So comment period will have been over, they get it explained to them, everybody votes. Then it's possible that we could act on the 19th of August.
Sooner the better for you, right?
Oh,
Bertie?
yeah, because
Well-
they would need to come in and So if we did go that way, they'd want to come in and change their credit union deductions.
Well, I think
Because
that-
then we are technically, withholding their money for them.
I think, so we've got some other policies that are going to go off for review on the 15th. And I expect, Brenda, we'll work towards having those on the 19th agenda. And this would also, if it's worth going, that would be on the agenda, should we so desire. But when the board gets to that, we will know that all the employees have been told, explained to them all the details of it, the pros and the cons. They've had a vote. We've made sure that everybody votes, regardless, professional, and anybody else there is, and I forget. And that they all have had a chance, the board's made available with how that tally came out, and then we'll decide what we got to do, considering, what we now know. I think we've all become more knowledgeable. Brandon?
My question would be, after you vote in August, does that, the next fiscal year to be July 1st, is that when it hits? This year will it change or will it change?
No, it would be effective in this school year, right, Bertie?
Yeah, that's kind of what we was working for, but then, that could be an option, is to put it off a year, give everybody a chance to adjust. And we could do the vote.
I don't know,
With 12 more votes.
We get so many options here.
Okay, forget
Somebody's gotta be
options.
kind of
No
and-
options.
Well, I think people have the reasons, like we heard some of these, but I don't think some people are gonna change their minds. They're
They're
voting,
set,
Yeah,
and they're not going to
predetermined.
open their mind to anything else.
But our goal, or what we had envisioned, that's why we were trying to do this when we first started, and over the summer and all, was to get a decision so that it could be implemented this year, or the finance officer had the opportunity to do it. Okay, so is that our plan then, ladies and gentlemen?
So,
Cool, okay. All right, anything else on that, Mr. Binky? Okay. Board members, anything else? I have one thing. When we have hearings, we've been having those on a board meeting like typically, and we've been scheduling those at 6 o'clock, the time of the board meeting. What I would like to propose, could we schedule those hearings maybe at 7 o'clock or 7:30, depending on the length of other items on the agenda, so we can do the regular agenda and then have the hearing? I think that would be to our benefit, and it would also be for the people having the hearing, that, they would come in. Because now, I just feel uncomfortable. We have an agenda here, and at the very beginning, we're stopping and
Sending everybody.
going on, having a hearing. We don't know how long it's gonna last. Not that we really care how long Sean has to wait.
All right.
But it just seems to me like if we would just, we could kind of predetermine, and, Brenda and I work on this together on the agendas. If we think, depending on what size agenda we have, as to when we should advise, and when she sends that letter out to the student or the employee, whoever it might be, that it's going to be at 7 o'clock, or it's going to be at 7:30. That way we could have an agenda, go through our regular business, and then have that, because I always am up here, think, well, we're gonna have to get this hearing over so we can get back to our agenda. I'd like to do that agenda first, and then do the hearings after.
Sounds good.
Is that okay with everybody?
Me.
Okay. So we'll pursue it that way, Brenda.
On August 5th, we'll pursue it that way.
Okay.
We got a hearing.
We don't want to waste any time. But that way, people, they're in the public, people come to the meeting, they want to be able to participate and hear what we're saying. If we immediately go into an executive session, which most hearings are, then we put them out in the hall, and they're waiting, they don't know when to come back. And I just think that's great, so I'm glad you all appreciate that, and we'll try to work towards it. Okay, if there's nothing further, let's adjourn until August 5th at 6 o'clock here at the county office. Get a motion? And nobody wants to do
I'll
it?
second.
Okay, Larry made the motion, Carol second, anybody else? Nobody else? All vote?
yeah.